So hello, hi, my name's Caleb. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite books and least favorite books of 2016. 2016 was a year. I read a lot of books that I loved and a lot of books that I hated. This year I have 8 favorite books. The way that I decide which books make my favorite list of the year and books that don't is based on a few things. First, it can't be a second book in a series that I read a different year. So for example, Queen of Shadows was one of my favorite books this year. It would be on my favorites list, but I read Throne of Glass last year, so I can't count this book because it was in a previous list. But if it's a new series that I'm reading for the first time this year, then the series will be on the list. Do you get it? Okay. We're gonna start with the least favorites because I'd rather start negative and then end on a good note. So let's go. I have 3 least favorite books next to me. I read all of these in 2016. They were all 1 or 2 star books and they just didn't make the cut for me. The first one is one that I've talked about a lot recently, The Trials of Apollo by Rick Riordan. I hated this book. I recently went on Goodreads and saw that I gave this a 3 stars. No! I remember I gave this book a lot of mercy because I was like, it's Rick Riordan, I love this world, but it honestly may be a 2, maybe lower. I'm not sure. Sorry, it's my opinion. It's okay, you'll live. I was not a fan of the sidekick in this book or Apollo. It just seemed like this world was going on for so long when it needed to end. Moving on. The next least favorite book of 2016 was The Crown by Kiera Cass. I think we all know how I feel about this book. I have a whole review about it. This book was really cringy. Trash. Moving on. The final least favorite book of 2016 may also be my least favorite book of all time, November 9th by Colleen Hoover. I have a 20-minute Snapchat of me freaking out over how problematic this book is. I read this about a week and a half ago, and I haven't picked up any books since because this book is trash and it put me in the biggest reading slump ever. This is not okay. This relationship is abusive and manipulative, and the main character in this book has no backbone or respect for herself and is garbage. And if you're gonna be one of the people that tell me I'm wrong for my opinion, go ahead. I have about a million things to point out that are problematic in this book. Okay, so that's it for my least favorite books. Now let's move on to my favorites. I have 2 honorable mentions before I get into the top 8. Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I read this book last year, so it can't make the list. But I rewatched my video from last year, and I forgot to include this book in it. At the end, I was like, wait, I never put Six of Crows on the list. And I felt bad. This is one of my favorite books ever. I love Leigh Bardugo. I love the Grisha world. I love every person in this book. And I reread this year, so it gets a mention. You're mentioned. You're on a list somewhere. It's okay. This book is so good. Read it. The next honorable mention is a book that I did give 5 stars and could be on this list, but I feel like it's wrong being on the list. Hamilton the Revolution by Lin-Manuel Miranda and some other person. This book is so good. It smells so good and it's so beautiful and I love it so much. I'm not about to put a textbook on the list. Sorry. Okay, we're officially here with the top 8 favorite books of 2016. We're gonna be moving from my least favorite to my favorite ever. Does that make any sense? I think so. So number 8 on this list is Everything by Nicola Yoon. I read this back in November of 2016. Was it my favorite of all time? No. It was good. It was really good. I recommend. It wasn't my favorite of all time, but the ending definitely left me in a place where I was like, I need more. The next book on this list is a book that I've read more recently, and that is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This book was so good. It was so fast moving. I liked a lot of the characters and it's diverse. I've never really read a book like this that deals with the topics that are dealt with in this book. I learned a lot through this book and it was very interesting. Highly recommend. The next book that I have is a book that I read back in the summer of this year, and that is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I read this book back a long time ago, 6 or 7 months ago. This gave me very fun vibes. I was on vacation, road tripping while reading this book, so I was loving this while I was reading it. I've heard recently that this is extremely problematic. I loved this book and it was amazing, but if it's extremely problematic, it's gonna lose some of my respect. So I'm not extremely sure exactly why this is problematic, so if you know, please tell me in the comments. I would love to be informed. The next book is a book that I've read more recently and I loved it so much. It was so cool. Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This book was so cool. If you don't know, but you probably do, this book is told in transcripts, pictures, and documents. I flew through this. I don't know when I'm gonna get to Gemini. I hope soon. The graphics in this book are so pretty and the story is so awesome. The next book that I have here is another book that I read back in the day, and that is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. This was the first book that I picked up during summer vacation. Picked it up at a perfect time, and that was the week before I was extremely busy for the rest of the summer, so it was nice to just be able to sit and read this. I love love everything. So we've made it to the top 3 books. I want you to place your bets now. If you want to try to guess the top 3 of my favorites are, go in the comments. If you've kept up with my reading, you know. If you're new, that's fine. You'll learn my favorites. Okay, let's go. Number 3 is a book that I read at the beginning of the year. Do you know it yet? A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This book was phenomenal. I loved everything about this book. The world is awesome. The characters are awesome. I love everything. I cannot wait for the 3rd book in this series to come out. I'm scared because V.E. Schwab's literally been like, everybody dies. It's fine. A lot of people didn't like the 2nd book in this series, but I loved the 2nd book. Like, I just thought it was so cool. I loved what happened in the 2nd book, and I want to reread these books before the 3rd book comes out, but that's probably not gonna happen, let's be real. Moving on. The number 2 book is another one of the best books I've ever read, and I was fanboying all day because it was so good. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I read this book. When did I read this book? I don't even remember. I read the first 100 pages of this book multiple times, and I found it so hard to just push through this dry point. And then one day I was just like, I'm doing this. And then I read the last half of this book, and every time I finished a chapter I was like, it's so amazing, and I still haven't read Akamath yet. Soon. And the Beauty and the Beast movie comes out in March. I'm so excited because the ACOTAR vibes. I'm so in love with this book. This is one of my new favorites ever. Sarah J. Maas is amazing. So good. Recommend 100%. I think by now you can probably guess what my favorite book is if you've been here for a while. I have not talked about this book in this video yet, so you know if you know me. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Caleb. I like Cassandra Clare. Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. This book is fantastic. I love all the humans in this book. I love everything. Immediately after I finished this book, I started rereading it and taking notes for a review that never happened because I stopped. So I might continue this reread sometime. I also want to reread all the Mortal Instruments books because I read those like 3-4 years ago. I gotta get on that. It was so good. I loved all the humans. I cannot wait for Lord of Shadows. And then we have to wait 2 extra years for the finale. So these are all the favorite books that I read in 2016. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite books of 2016 were in the comment section down below. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye! So I got a new lens for Christmas. It's like a wide angle lens. And I like turned on my camera and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh wow, this is pretty wide. I'm like really close. And then I realized it was zoomed in the whole time. You want to see how far away I actually am? I am so far, but I'm so close. I'm like right in front of you. I'm right in front of your face right now. Can you even tell? No, it looks like I'm normal distance away. This is crazy. Wow, I like this.